Hi Sandy, and today I'm bringing you kind of a combination video where I'm going to go over my stats for the first quarter of the year and also show you all of the books I've hauled for the first quarter of the year. Basically, I couldn't decide what video I wanted to do today. I have been sort of rummaging around in my head to decide what to film. I've asked my friends, and I'm not even kidding. They tied on the poll I asked them, because I sent it to two different group chats, and between the two group chats, the poll tied. So I was like, what if I just did both videos, because neither of them are going to take me that long. So, and Lisa was like, I said that. And I was like, you said to do them separately. I could do them together. And Siobhan was like, you could do that. So, yeah, basically that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run through my stats for the quarter and run through the books I've hauled in the quarter. So I will do one then the other. If you want to see one but not the other, feel free to watch the bit that you want to watch. I would offer to do chapters, but I don't know how to do that. I don't even know if my channel can do that. I don't know if that's something you get after a certain number of followers, or if I'm just... I don't know. I don't know how to do that, but, you know, I'm sure if you go down to the little bit and, like, scrub the video, you'll be able to see. If I'm holding up books, I'm doing the haul. If I'm showing you numbers, I'm doing the number bit. But what I'm going to do is start with the stats, and then I'll go over the books, because that's going to take a little bit longer than the stats. Q1 or quarter one, if you're unsure, covers January to March. So if you split the year into quarters, you've got 4 sections. The first quarter's the first 3 months. I don't know if anybody doesn't know that, but whenever people start, like before I started working in like certain places, like I didn't know what people meant when they said Q1, Q2. I was like, what? So yeah, Q1 is basically January, February, March, the first quarter of the year. So yeah, Q1 stats. I have read 41 books in Q1, which I set my goal at 100 books for the year. So I'm really impressed with that. Like, I did not realise I was reading so much, so I am very impressed, and that's partly why I wanted to do that, because I wanted to kind of pat myself on the back for how much I was reading. That comes down to, sort of splits up into 12 books in January, 15 books in February, and 14 books in March. Pages wise, that is a grand total of 13,470 pages, which is a lot of pages, and that splits down into 4,117 pages in January, 4,580 pages in February, and 4,773 pages in March. So as you can see, I'm kind of getting like a momentum going. I don't see that carrying on into April, but we shall see. Do you know what? I am not putting pressure on myself to read, and I think it's obviously working, because I'm doing pretty well, and I'm enjoying what I'm reading, which is the most important part. Breakdown of genres and things like that. So romances took up the biggest chunk, which is not surprising to me or probably to anybody else. So I read 22 romance, like straight up romance novels the first quarter. I read 6 fantasy novels, 6 sci-fi novels, 2 historical fictions, 2 contemporaries, and 2 non-fictions. So I think that's a good spread of genres. I am heavy getting into like romances though. Like I'm feeling like I'm really enjoying romance. Like I'm really, as you can see, like this is romance and contemporary, but mostly like romance. I'm really enjoying. I'm in like my romance era, I think. But I am starting to like get into sci-fi and fantasy, which again I think is reflected here, and I am, I think, starting to like step back on my historical fictions. But yeah, I'm also trying to get through like my non-fictions that I've got on my TBR cart. So I was picking up like one a month, but I obviously dropped one in a month there somewhere. So I'll need to like pick up an extra one somewhere at some point. For a little bit more of a breakdown as well, so in 53% of my reads there was some kind of queer or LGBTQIA plus rep in them, whether that be a main character or a significant side character. So for me, I don't count it if it's just like, oh yeah, that's Bob over there, he's gay, or oh yeah, that's Sarah, she's queer, or, you know, like it has to be significant enough, like they have to be significant enough in a story. So with My Lindsay Sands, for example, there are two characters that are a queer couple, a gay couple, Russell and Francis, and they are in a couple of the books, like they are in for like a good section of pages, and I will put them in as side characters who are queer rep in some way, but because they are in the world, I won't then put them in as LGBTQI plus rep for every book that exists in that universe. You know what I mean? So they have to play a significant part in the book for me to include it as rep. So for my personal judgment, as it were, for my like standards, 53% of my books had LGBTQIA plus or queer rep in them. And 5 of the books that I've read this quarter, I was going to say this year, but I suppose this year, 5 of the books I've read this quarter are from authors of colour. That is something that I want to actively try and increase the number of. I have been trying to do my research and increase the number of authors of colour that I'm putting onto my TBR shelf or TBR cart, because I am somebody who, unless I kind of know who the author is, I don't really know anything about the, like I couldn't tell you anything about the author. So I'm having to actively look up authors and stuff like that, because I don't, like, I know who certain authors are, like everybody knows who certain authors are, but if it's not like right in your face who the author is, I don't know anything about authors. So I'm now, like, part of my whole goals for this year is to try and actually engage more with my reading. So 5 so far out of 41 isn't that great. I have also been reading a lot of backlists, because I have like a lot of backlists on my TBR, so I will be keeping an eye on that number as I go forward in the next few quarters, or the next 3 quarters, I suppose. Talking of reading authors that I've already read and backlists and stuff, 7 of the books that I read in this last quarter were rereads, which is actually less than I expected. So yeah, 7 rereads is not as bad as I expected. I've been beating myself up for rereading books, but for it to only be 7, I need to give myself a break. And the reason that I've been giving myself a hard time for rereading books and reading KU books and reading library books is my TBR. So we have, my friends and I have a kind of competition-ish type thing. We started it last year, we're doing it again this year, and we all have a goal that we want our TBRs to get to. So my goal is to get my TBR down to 50. That is what I want to have my TBR sort of stable at. I did have this like pipe dream one year to get my TBR down to 25. The video's still floating about somewhere if you want to go laugh at me. But I had this pipe dream to get my TBR down to 25, which is never going to happen. That is unsustainable. Like, I am currently struggling with the way that I mood read to pick from my TBR as it is. But my goal is to get my TBR down to 50. That is when I'll feel sort of comfortable with my TBR, and then I'll allow myself to go back to rereading books on my shelves and feel less anxious about rereading while I've still got TBR there, and feel a lot more comfortable going out and using my library and using other ways of like getting other books into like my view. But currently, so my starting TBR, here we go, starting TBR as of the 1st of January 2024 was 86 books. There is a video if you want to see what those 86 books were. It is the one that is pinned to my channel. You can go and see what my starting TBR was. My current TBR, drumroll please, my current TBR is 62 books. It isn't currently 62 books, that is a lie, but for the first quarter, as of the 31st of March 2024, I had 62 books on my TBR, my physical TBR. We're not talking about my Kindle, that's a totally different TBR thing, but my physical TBR, 62 books, and so the goal of 50 is within my sights, but the 50 has to be like as of like the 31st of December 2024, so watch this space, and I will try and update you on that every quarter, and you can try and help keep me accountable. And the last stat that I kind of want to update you on, and I don't know if anybody cares about this, but it is important to me, and it was kind of like a goal almost that I want to hit. It is a goal that I want to hit, but it's not necessarily like a stat that you need to be like keeping an eye on. Anyway, I have it, it's like a goal this year, it's a dream to have an official library, and apparently it's technically not, or by definition, you do not have a library until you have 1,000 books. I currently do not have 1,000 books, and so in battling with getting my TBR down, I also want to hit 1,000 books in my library, like as part of my library. And so I've also been trying to like curate my library. So I have been unhauling, I have been reading my TBR, and I have been like collecting other like special editions and stuff. Like I am in the process of curating my library to make it reflective of what I actually want, while also trying to hit that 1,000 book goal, which by the way makes it really, really hard to hit that 1,000 book goal. I could just be piling books in here just to hit the goal, but I am not. So like please, like, you know, keep that in mind. And so currently the total for my library is 856 books, which means I have 144 books to go until I hit my 1,000 book mark. This is slightly like out of my Q1 thing because I'm filming this mid-April, but you know, I just thought it'd be nice to slip it into this video just so I can keep track of like how I'm doing with it in all my quarterly update videos. But yeah, so that is my stats and stuff that might be interesting to people who like stats and stuff. This has waffled on a bit longer than I expected, so next I'm going to move on to my Q1 2024 haul. I decided to do this haul because I don't do regular book hauls. I will show that books that I buy and receive and stuff like that in my vlogs, but I don't do dedicated haul videos. One, because I only do like one video per week of like sit down videos, and one is my wrap up and one is my TBR, and I don't feel like I haul enough books to sit down and do a haul, and I'm not going to just keep buying books to purposely do a haul. So like for Q1 I've only hauled 28 books, and so 28 books is a good size haul, so Q1 haul seems like a decent thing to do. But yeah, you won't see a dedicated haul from me usually, but since I've got like a good chunk, I figured this was a good time to maybe sit down and do a haul, because people seem interested in hauls, and people are, like my friends want to see what I've bought, want to see what I've hauled. They're always asking when I come home from the shops to be like, send a picture of a haul and things like that, so here you go. Okay, I'm going to go month by month. I do have a note of everything I bought in each month, so I'm going to go month by month, but I can't guarantee they're like exactly like in order of what I bought them. So if you're going to be that picky about it, then just there's a little X up here. Just click it, because I can't be that precise. First is Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. You can blame Tori for this one because she was going on about it and on about it and on about it, and I just had to read it, and you know what, she was right. I loved it, so you know, oh well. And I got this from Warstones. I also picked up Behind the Net and The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer, which are hockey romances, as you can, you know, probably tell by the covers. These are the indie these are the indie covers, and they are bigger. These are like, I need a regular size book to show you. Like, these are the indie covers, and I'll put that down. She's been picked up by a trad publisher, which is great. I'm so happy for her. They're keeping the covers, but they're reprinting them in the regular book size, which means the third one is going to be regular book sized. So I'm going to have to buy the first two again in regular book size to match with the third one, which is just annoying. But yeah, anyway, I got these and that because they were on, like, I think it was like the January sale, triple points thing. Yeah, so these are like, there's these are like connected hockey romance things, like professional NHL player, adult romancy things, and I really enjoyed them. So yeah. And I also got Iron Widow in that points thing because why not? Again, I had to just I jumped on the hype train with Iron Widow, ended up loving it. So again, oh well. And I got the paperback. You will see the hardback coming up later on because I have pre-ordered the hardback of Heavenly Tyrant, so I have to get the hardback to match. And because Vicky was doing it on a haul, I got some true crimey type stuff from her. So I got All the Living and the Dead by Hayley Campbell and How to Solve a Murder. True stories from life in forensic medicine. So like basically these are stuff from professionals who work in forensic medicine and stuff like that, which is just, you know, right up my alley. I love all this sort of stuff. I love memoir, true crimey type story things because it's me. So yeah, whenever Vicky reads them and then subsequently unhauls them, there's a pipeline straight to me. And then for Christmas, because we didn't see each other on Christmas and saw each other late, from Tori, I got the Study Chronicles by Maria V. Snyder. If you don't know, me and Tori are running a Chronicles of Ixia read-along currently, and this will be like the last thing we read, so I have that in preparation, and it has been lovely signed and, what's the word? Personalised by Maria. Oh, I almost took myself out with that book. This is one of those ones where it's indie published and it's heavy as hell. So yeah, that was really exciting to get. I'm not even allowed to look in this book. Like, there are so many spoilers in here because it's short story collections from like across the entire story, like across the entire like 9-book series, that I like went to open it and Tori like slammed my hand down. She was like, no, do not open that. And I was like, what if I just look at the contents? But she was like, no. So yeah, I'm not even allowed to look at the art. Like there's fan art in here and I'm not allowed to look at it. And then in February, my pre-order for Bride by Ellie Hazelwood came in. This is her first fantasy romance novel. So I got this and I read it fairly quickly actually after I got it. So I'm quite proud of myself for that one. And then when I think I was like getting something from the pharmacy and had to park further down the road than I normally would, I discovered that we have a teeny tiny, and I mean like teeny tiny little indie bookstore in my village. And like, I mean teeny tiny, like it looks like somebody's living room. Teeny tiny little indie bookstore. So I went in and could not bear to leave without buying something, because I was this guy who got far too close to me, if I'm being honest, and the owner who was kind of stink-eyeing us the whole time, but like, it was really awkward, but I didn't want to leave without buying something, and so I picked up this edition of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, because I've read A Christmas Carol and I collect these editions of classics that I have read, and I am like a magpie with the foiling. So yeah, I collect the puffin, what are they called? Cloth-bound editions of classics. If I have read them, I will collect these editions of them. And when I saw this, I was like, excellent, this is something that I can actually purchase and not just be buying something for the sake of buying something. So yeah, very happy with this. Very beautiful and a little nice feather in my cap for my bookshelves. And then I also saw this, which is Ancient Magic in Greece and Rome, a hands-on guide. And I just found this really interesting. So it's basically like a non-fiction kind of different, I don't know, it just talks about different things in ancient Greece and Rome, because Greek and Roman mythology is really closely tied together. So the mythology is that when Troy fell after the Trojan War, spoilers, sorry, after the Trojan War, Troy fell, and survivors from Troy, like I think there was only like a couple of survivors from Troy, fled to Rome and founded Rome, and kind of brought over all the Greek myths and gods and legends and adapted them to become more Roman, to become more warlike, and that's how we get the kind of transposition of the Greek and Roman gods, because you've got Zeus and Jupiter and Athena and Minerva, Juno and Hera, although that's the other way around if you're doing like the way I was doing it, you know. But there are gods and legends and things like that are just Greek or just Roman, but basically the Romans modelled a lot of their mythos after the Greeks and then adapted it. And so this is basically a kind of nutshell almost of a lot of that mythos. And as you know, I really enjoy Greek and Roman mythology, so this is something that I don't plan on like sitting down and reading, but it's definitely something that I plan on sitting down like occasionally and dipping in and out of. It was actually this page that I just accidentally opened up to again that made me buy it. So I was watching a documentary type video, like it was a YouTube video, like but a long one, and it was someone who studies Greek mythology, Greek mythology, and they were talking about these rivers and things like that, and the rivers in the underworld and how they relate to real rivers that exist in the world. And there's this place where, I can't remember if it was the river Styx or like, but there's one where it's, you know, basically it's so toxic, the water is so toxic that if you drink it you'll die. And it has the same effect as the one from the myth in the underworld, and so he believes that that's where that myth comes from. And there's lots of like literature and things like that to back it up, stories from back in Greece as that being the entrance to the underworld. And this is what this story is. This is like it's part of that literature that he was talking about, and that's what drew me into this book. So yeah, I won't sit and like read this cover to cover, but I'll definitely dip in and out of it because I just love Greek and Roman mythology. I think everybody kind of my sort of age has some sort of fascination with Greek, Roman and Egyptian mythology. For some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of something that happened when we grew up, like if it was on TV or if it was... to be fair, maybe it was The Mummy. Can we blame Brendan Fraser? Or just The Mummy in general? And then because apparently I had mentioned in my vlog that I had finished boyfriend material and I wanted to start husband material but didn't have husband material, Vicky thought it was poignant and bought me husband material, and even put in her note, you said in your latest vlog you were sad you didn't have this, so now you have it. Basically, Vicky wants to spend money on books. Vicky doesn't want to buy herself more books, so Vicky buys me books. It's like equal parts love and sabotage. Because I'm trying to get my TBR down, but I'm trying to get my library up. It's a balancing act. But I'm obviously very, very grateful. But yeah, so got husband material, read husband material. Again, straight on and off the TBR. We love it. And then from Waterstones, my pre-order of Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey came in. And again, read this straight away, got it right off my TBR. This is her new... I think it was supposed to be a duology, but I think she's talking about maybe extending it into other books, so hey. And this is a golf romance, and I did not know how she was going to make that work. But you know what? She did it, and she did well done. Well done. Golf cap off to you. Another pre-order was An Education in Malice by S.D. Gibson. There was no way I was not pre-ordering this after reading and loving A Dowry of Blood. And again, pre-order came in, read it fairly quickly after I got it, loved it, very happy with that. This is a Carmilla Dark Academia retelling, and do you know what? I was really interested in how she was going to do this because Carmilla is like this size. It's teeny tiny. It's like under 100 pages or only just over 100 pages. I'm looking at it now. Teeny tiny. And so she managed to get this out of it, and I really, really enjoyed this. This is a book where not much happens. It's like very low key, but Dark Academia. So if you're looking for a high action fantasy with vampires, this is not for you. This is not for you. But I loved it so much. I just realised how much I am squinting at the camera because my ring light is on and like in my face, and my eyes are just like getting abused by the light, so I apologise if I'm squinting at you, but the things I do for videos to get the lighting right. And then again, Vicky struck. Ironically, I read this because I got a copy from Vicky to borrow to read the book because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I ended up really liking it and so wanted a copy of my own, and so Vicky bought me a copy of my own. Again, with the note, I'm not. My donation to the Library of Andy, may you get to 1,000 books soon. And I'm not adding to your TBR. She thinks if she buys me books that I've read, so she's not adding to my TBR, I can't get mad at her, which is hilarious. And also, like, fair. Like, I can't, obviously I'm not going to get mad at her for buying books. Other than the fact that, like, she should be spending her money on herself, not me. You know, like, spend your money on you, not me. But, like, obviously, like, you... No. Anyway, yeah, so this came from Vicky, and so yeah, it's beside my Andy Weir collection, and I may or may not have some more Andy Weir coming for the Q2 update. And then I managed to get myself a copy of the Fairy Loot Bookshops and Bone Dust. One of my lovely friends managed to get me a copy of this because I do not have a Fairy Loot subscription and they do, and they did not want a copy of this, but I very much did, and they remembered and I did not. I'm pretty sure it was Siobhan. There's a couple of people that asked me about it, but I'm fairly sure in the end it was Siobhan that ended up getting it for me. If I'm wrong, please let me know, but I think it was Siobhan. And yeah, look at those edges, because I have the Fairy Loot Legends and Lattes, but I needed to get the matching set. So yeah, I have the best friends. Like, seriously, the fact that like multiple people were like, by the way, this is up, do you still want it? And I was like, yes. I totally forgot about that, thank you. Like, look at how beautiful the holographic is. Honestly, I legit have the best friends. I'm like a magpie. I'm no better than a bird. So shiny. Anyway, sorry, I absolutely got totally like sparkled away in that. Yeah, so I got this to add to my beautiful collection. And because I am a completionist, this is actually not the book I hauled, this is the book I'm unhauling, because all of the books I have in this collection, so not all of the books, but from about the halfway point, I have them all in hardback, because this series has been going on since before I was born, and so I have a mismatched collection of this book, but at a certain point they have like a cohesive hardback set, and so that's when I started collecting, is from that cohesive hardback set. Except this one, I missed the hardback release of this and ended up with the paperback, but found someone selling a hardback of it for like cheap, like I'm not even kidding, like £2 or something plus postage, and so I bought that and I'm unhauling the paperback. So the hardback is like way up there, and I'm not getting a ladder just for this video, so it looks exactly like this, but it is hardback sized. Talking of looks exactly like this but it's hardback sized, I also got the hardback of Iron Man. I've pre-ordered Heavenly Tyrant in hardback, and so I got a second-hand copy of Armado in hardback to match. Only thing is, right, so here's that paperback, right? This is a very small hardback. So I hope they released Heavenly Tyrant in also this small hardback. Otherwise there's going to be problems. There will be problems. I may have to just get Heavenly Tyrant in paperback. I don't know. I'll figure it out at some point when we see the size of Heavenly Tyrant. If they're ever going to release it, we will figure it out once I have the book in my hands. And finally, for February, I got myself this gorgeous edition of Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. I am sorry, that whistle came out of nowhere. And this is, I mean, I'm disappointed in this edge. Like, the paperback had a lovely, like, this, like, the periodic table on the edge. And this is what you go for this special edition. Like, this is what you go for on the edge of this. This is the special, like you've got, and this is what you go for, that's what you, okay, fine. I'm just saying. I'm not gonna lie, like this is the most beautiful, I don't know if it's translating well to the camera, but this is one of the most beautiful colours of like bluey green ever. I love it, it's one of my favourite colours, but you could have done better. Like put it on the bottom and top, but do something here. Put like a periodic table here. But yeah, this is basically just a naked hardback of Lessons in Chemistry. It also doesn't really have, I think it has like an interview in the back with, no, it doesn't. It has no extra bits in it. There's nothing special about this other than the cover. I almost took myself out with that one as well. This is basically just a beautiful copy of Lessons in Chemistry. Am I now starting to regret buying this? Maybe a little bit. But it's beautiful and I loved Lessons in Chemistry. So let's just chalk that one up to Magpie Brain, okay? And finally, the one we've all been waiting for, March. I'm just kidding. It's probably just because it's the end of the video and I'm a little bit like, woohoo. But yeah, so March is probably the month I got the least amount of books. But also probably the most expensive month. And this is why. I got the, oh it's out of order, I'm sorry. I got the Illumicrate Percy Jackson books. These are very hard to, they're very slidey. Yeah, so this is the Illumicrate Percy Jackson series. We've got the Light and Thief, Sea Monsters, Titans, Curse, Battle of the Labyrinth and Last Olympian. These are some of the most beautiful books that I own. They have the most beautiful naked hardcovers and other things. I've done a dedicated unboxing for them, so if you want to see them in detail, please go to that. But I'm going to put these down in a sec. Yeah, those were fairly, well, they were fairly inexpensive, really, because per book they were only like £25 per book, which for a hardback is like a just slightly more expensive than a regular hardback, and that is also taken into account the postage and their special editions. So, like, I'm not mad at paying £25 per book for that. Again, someone else sat in the queue and got them for me, and I just like sent them the money for it. So the fact that someone did that for me, like, Steph, is like, you're a real one. I was so scared to not get these books. Like, I'm pretty sure they're still available. I was so scared of not getting these books, but Illumicrate manage their sales so much better than Fairlight do, I think, in my opinion. Like, whenever I see Fairlight do a sale, it's like a bloodbath, but Illumicrate seems to like manage them a lot better. They always end up getting stuff general sale, whereas Fairlight like run out at like pre-sale. So I don't know how, like, I don't know if it's just the stuff they do is less popular or what, but yeah, so, but yeah, I was at work, so one of my friends got them for me, and I was so excited when they arrived. I can't even tell you. I cannot even tell you how excited I was when they arrived. They are one of my most prized possessions. As you can see, I love Percy Jackson. I've got a Percy Jackson tattoo that plans to be a sleeve when, you know, money. I can afford to get the full sleeve. But yeah, I'm very happy with those books. Like I said, the unboxing video was on my channel. I will try and remember to link it below if you want to go watch it and see the books in all their glory and see me just like freak out a little bit about them. But yeah, that was like my main big spend of March. And yeah, again, probably the most expensive month, because a lot of these I got like, some of these I got as gifts or free from my friends and things like that. So I don't tend to spend a lot on books, but these were like, I had to like really consider spending money on these, but I knew I really wanted them. And then because of who I am as a person, and completely contrary to what I just said, and I had FOMO, I bought The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. Because look at it. Look at it. Now, I've seen other versions of this book and they have like a pale blue. Like, it almost blends into this blue. They have like a blue colour for this. I don't know if that's like a variation on the theme. But yeah, so this is so pretty. this is so pretty. And it's Catherine Arden. I really enjoyed Catherine Arden's Winter Night series, so I just had to get this. This is World War One historical fiction with some like magical realism. I would like paranormal magical realism aspects of it. Again, have already read it, so not mad. But yeah, could not say no when I saw this. Like it's so, this was again magpie brain, because World War One is not my comfort zone. World War Two historical fiction is my comfort zone, and even that is like I'm starting to go off. Well, I'm not, but I am. But like World War One isn't really in my comfort zone. But I like Catherine Arden, and look how shiny, look how shiny, and look how pretty. So I had to have it, and I'm not mad. Oh look, another true crime book from somebody who works with true crime stuff. Guess who this is from? Yeah, so this is a Vicky book. She read this and was like, "Do you still want this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. That sounds interesting." This is about America's most elusive serial killer, and I was like, maybe I don't want to read this. And then I read the synopsis again, and I was like, damn it, I definitely want to read this again. Like, still definitely want to read this. So, yeah, definitely need some more true crime in my life. And then my friend Melissa was also getting rid of some books that I totally forgot about. I'm not going to lie. She said this months ago. I totally forgot that I had said like that I would like a book. And then it arrived and I was like, oops. And I got this, which is Forces of Nature by Professor Brian Cox and Andrew Cohen. And I will be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure what this is, but I'm going to guess it's something to do with physics because it's Professor Brian Cox. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you here. I fully got this because I have like a serious crush on Professor Brian Cox. I love Professor Brian Cox. Like, if he's on the TV, I'm just sitting there like, I have no idea what he's saying. I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm just looking at him like, Like, I have a big old crush on him. I have done for years. Like, I just, like, he'd be the kind of thing where, like, he'd be like the professor, like the university or college professor, and I'm just the student that's just like sitting at the front of the class, just like, you know, not that I would like do anything, like not that kind of creepy thing, but like, that's a weird book. But yeah, so I don't actually know what this is about. I just know that it's Professor Brian Cox. So, did you know that he was also in the band Dream? But yeah, I will watch whatever he's in. I will read whatever he writes. So, when I saw this was available, like Melissa had this, I was like, I'll have that, please. No idea when I'm getting to it, but yeah, I've also been really getting into, like, I've been watching a physicist called Dr. Becky Smethurst on YouTube, and I've got her books and really enjoyed it and starting to kind of not understand the physics, because physics is not my jam. I'm a biology with a hint of chemistry person. Physics is just out of my purview. I can't do like 3D. I can't do it. And then the lovely Pia, who I didn't actually get a chance to see for most of this like start of the quarter because illness and busyness and just random stuff like that, got me Saga Volume 11 for Christmas. Like literally, I didn't see her until March, and this was my Christmas gift when I saw her in March. And this is the most up-to-date volume of Saga. I'm not going to do that. That'll get me banned from YouTube. Yeah, this is so shiny. And I've already read this again. It's such a quick read, so it was really easy to get like off my TBR immediately. And this brings me up to date with all of Saga. I have the compendium, which is 1 to 9, and then someone else gifted me volume 10, and then this is volume 11, which is the most up to date. And thankfully, this made up for volume 10 and not being that great. So if you read volume 10 and kind of went off it a bit, this one made up for it a bit, and it did get me excited for the next volume. So maybe try it on like a cheaper version, or like borrow it from someone or the library or something, and hopefully it will also get you back into the world of Saga. And then finally, I kind of got myself this, but also kind of got this from Vicky. I will explain in a second. And that is Poems by Len Penny. This is a collection of poems by a Scottish poet. And she also does the Scottish Word of the Day on Instagram, on TikTok, but she also posts it to her Instagram Reels. And this is a book of poems which is kind of about, it's not really about anything, but a lot of them are to do with the issues and abuses that women face on a day-to-day basis. Basically, like, it's a lot of it stems from the abuse that she suffered at the hands of a partner, and also like the general sort of things that women have to face, like from like one extreme to the other, from like being told to smile, from to laws that are being made about our bodies by people that just don't care, don't understand, from men, and to men who think that it's okay to beat us and abuse us, and even down to, you know, people who tell us that we should just be happy that anybody paid attention to us. And even a poem, or some poems about her talking to her younger self, and it's just, I love this. It gave me the rage, like it gave me that like white hot feeling of rage, but I absolutely adored it. And if this is something that you think you can like read, if it's something you think you can, because it is like rife with triggers, absolutely rife, because like this type of poetry, it is an output, it is like an outflow of her emotions and everything that's happened to her, so it is very personal, it is very triggering. I can understand why some people wouldn't be able to deal with it, but if you think you can, I would absolutely 100% recommend it. With a little caveat, half of this is written in Scots, so some of the poems are written in English and some of the poems are written in Scots. Scots is not just me talking English in a Scottish accent. Scots is a language in itself, and there are words even in here that I don't understand. Like, I do speak Scots casually, like I don't necessarily, like, there are people who speak Scots, just purely speak Scots, and Scots, like I say, is a language, but I do speak Scots in the sense that, like, I probably know enough of it to get away with saying that I speak it and I understand it. Like, if somebody was talking to me, I would understand it, and it was very, very few and far between that I had to Google words, maybe like 5 words in the entire collection that I had to Google. But there are some, like, for somebody who might not speak any Scots at all, you're gonna struggle with this, but it's still a beautiful medium. And yeah, she also does the audiobook for it herself, which I've not listened to, but I would really like to, just to hear the cadence of her voice and the way that she does the meter of the poems and stuff like that herself, because again, with some of it being Scots and some of it being English, getting and switching from different styles of poems, getting the meter right for the poems can be a little bit like jarring, because you're switching languages and then switching meters, and it was excellent. I loved it, but I can understand why it'd be a bit more difficult in like multiple different ways for people. But I absolutely loved it, and I cannot wait to see what she does next. Those are the books then that I hauled in the first quarter of 2024. I think that's not too shabby. Like, I'm trying not to take on too many books. Like, I'm trying to curate what I bring into my library. I'm not just trying to buy, because too often I think we get taken over by the urge to jump on trends and jump on this feeling. Like, I know, like, I film and stuff against this backdrop of all these books, and so many people on BookTube and BookTok and Instagram and like all these different things, the level of consumption is very, very high. And I distinctly remember Hayley from Hayley in Bookland talking about how she got her first student loan payment come through, and what she did is she went and she blew it all on books, and she just bought. And most of the books she didn't end up actually reading, and she unhauled a lot of them because she didn't actually have an interest in reading them. She just wanted them. Like, she just wanted to have them, and not even necessarily to collect them. She just wanted them, and not in a healthy way, not in like a, like, I have books that I collect because I want to collect them, like my cloth-bound classics. I collect them as collector's items. Like, my books, I collect books as well as read books. Like, reading books and collecting books is two very different things. But for me, the way I want to collect books is consciously. I'm now this year trying to step away from just thoughtlessly buying books, and I want to consciously curate and collect. And so the fact that I've only hauled 28 books in this first quarter, I feel like that is a good sign that I am working on properly curating my books. I do only have like, let me just check. I do only have 60 pre-orders for the entire year. And I'm not afraid to cancel pre-orders. Like, I've cancelled pre-orders where I've decided, in like thinking about it, that I'm not interested in the book anymore. So yeah, I'm quite proud of myself for that. And I'm not going to stop buying books. I'm not going on a book buying ban. But I am trying to consciously think about my books. That is my goal for this year, is to consciously think about my books. And that's partially why I wanted to do this video. And that, I think, is actually a good thing that I've decided to put my haul and my stats into the same video, because it makes me think about what I'm doing with my reading. Because, like I say, although collecting and reading are two very different hobbies, for me, they do lend into each other. Like, they do meet together, because there is not a book on my shelves that I would not read again. The rule that I have for my bookshelves is that I will not keep a book on my bookshelves if I would not pick it up and reread it. So every single book on these shelves I would happily reread at some point. And so what's the point of me spending my money that I don't necessarily have a lot of, buying a book that I'm not going to then potentially reread? Girl math. If you're only going to read it once, waste the money. If I'm going to reread a book, say it cost me £25, right? Random number. If I reread that 5 times, that's £5 a use. Girl math. You know what I mean? I want to take things onto my collection that I want to reread, and I want to reread. And a lot of my books last year and a lot of my books this year have also come from my friends unhauling, and it's like a weird system we have. We don't really charge each other money for books. Like, if we need to post them, we'll like give each other postage for them. But like, if we see each other, we just like swap books basically. And so it's free books. Almost like a travelling library. It's quite funny. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to do with these videos, kind of for me, but also it's kind of interesting for you to get that little voyeuristic look into my stats and into my hauling practices. I would do an unhaul, but yeah, the books are already gone, so I'm sorry. I'm bad for that. It's not all of the books. I do have a little pile over there, but it's not that interesting. Yeah, it's not that interesting. These books are just going to go down to the library. I went down to my library once with like a big ass For Life bag full of books, and they were like, "Are these for returning?" And I was like, "No, they're for donating." And they're like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm." And I looked at Kane. She was like, "Mm-hmm." So yeah, I just randomly go into my library sometimes with, like, that's how often I will go down to a library and unhaul stuff. Like, I'll just like collect a whole load of books, and then I'll go down and be like, "Here you go." So yeah, things aren't going to waste. I've lost control and like the whole tangent of this video, so I'm going to go. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to let me know that you are here, leave me a little stack of books emoji in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you, one and all. That was the Christmas carol coming out. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.